Hello and good evening, and welcome to the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication for our official welcome to the 2022 to 2023 Hubert H. Humphrey Fellows at Arizona State University. My name is Jan Holland Malcolm. I am the program manager to the Humphrey program. The Humphrey Fellowship Program has received Fulbright exchange funding from U.S. Congress since 1978 to honor the public service career of the late Senator and Vice President Hubert H. Humphrey, a longtime advocate of international cooperation and understanding. The Humphrey Fellows are mid-career professionals in a variety of fields, such as human and institutional capacity. These are the economic professionals who create public and technological policy and management. Sustainable lands, they specialize in agricultural and rural development, natural resources, environmental, climate change, and urban planning. Also, thriving communities. These are the teachers and the scientists who keep our global communities safe from contagious disease, create public health policy, are educational, administration, planning, and policymakers. And of course, our favorite fellows are the rights and freedoms. They are the communication professionals, the journalists, the human rights advocates that work tirelessly for international religious freedom and prevention of human trafficking. Tonight, we officially welcome 13 communication professionals to ASU. They are part of the larger community of Humphrey Fellows, with 12 other U.S. universities that make up 156 fellows from 86 countries during this academic year. These remarkable individuals began their journey about a year ago from a worldwide pool of about 5,000 applicants. At ASU, this lucky 13 cohort are part of the 137 fellows we have welcomed in 13 years from 70 countries to the Cronkite School. Now, I would like to introduce Dr. Betinto Batts, the Dean of the Walter Cronkite School.
Thank you so much, Jan. It's really a pleasure to be able to be here this evening and to provide this welcome. Cronkite Global Initiatives fosters meaningful connections amongst Cronkite students, staff, and faculty, and international media professionals, scholars, and citizens. Cronkite Global Initiatives was established upon the awarding of the Hubert Fellowship over 13 years ago by the Institute of International Education. And today, we are the only journalism and mass communication program to host the Humphrey Fellows in the country. This is a testament to our expertise and our innovation in our teaching hospital methodology. Cronkite is genuinely a global school. In addition to the Hubert H. Humphrey program, we are also home to 2 study of the U.S. Institutes for Scholars and Young Leaders. Our faculty have secured funding from federal and international agencies to lend their expertise to communities in Albania, China, Mexico, Pakistan, Korea, Saudi Arabia, El Salvador, just to name a few. The Humphrey Fellowship is extremely important to the school. The fellows lend their expertise to several of our courses and develop long-lasting relationships with our student body, faculty, and staff. But also, the fellows become Cronkite ambassadors in their home countries and have been instrumental in helping us connect with other universities, professional organizations, and local governments. Just like everything else here at Cronkite, This would not be possible without the support of many people, but I want to really call out some significant supporters, and that being the Cronkite Global Initiatives, and that's Adelaida and Barry Severson. And Adelaida is here with us this evening. We want to thank you all for your continued support of Global Initiatives. Again, this would not be possible without you. Please help me welcome now the 2022-2023 cohort of fellows to the US and ASU. I'd like to invite Professor John Meisner to the stage. John is the curator of the Hubert H. Humphrey program.
Thank you, Dean Batts, and good afternoon. As you heard from the Dean, the Humphrey program is an essential program within the school, and I am honored to serve as a curator and professor of practice. The 22-23 cohort is composed of 13 fellows visiting us from 11 countries, and as you will see shortly in the video that they produce for you, their home countries are extremely diverse and from throughout the globe. You may be interested in knowing they range from countries such as the Solomon Islands, with a population of around 700,000. And raise your hand if you can point on a map to the Solomon Islands. Well, come on. At least many of you are being honest. All the way up to India with a population of 1.4 billion. There are 10 journalists, 2 communication professionals, 1 college lecturer. All have bachelor's degrees and many have graduate degrees. And although they are indeed from diverse backgrounds, those of us on the Cronkite Global team have noticed that they've already come together as a team despite first meeting just over a month ago. Every year when I learn about our incoming students' home countries, I play a fun game. I look at a big map in my home office to remind myself, or sometimes learn, like with the Solomon Islands, where these countries are on the map. At that point, their countries seem so far away, but when fellows arrive here and we begin the semester, we soon learn that they all share a common theme, and that is, regardless of where they live and work, they have a common purpose, a great sense of purpose. More specifically, they have the drive to learn, so when they return home, they're better equipped to leverage their professional savvy to make their communities and their countries better places to live. To help them accomplish their goals, in addition to the Cronkite skills classes they enroll in, as well as classes on the Tempe campus, they attend the weekly Humphrey seminar, where they learn strategies and tactics to help grow their individual effectiveness and help them evolve into more effective leaders in group settings, as we recognize that nobody in business does it alone. To accomplish these goals, we, and this year it's Dr. Mundell and I as the professors, put them through a rigorous curriculum of case studies, books, other readings, group exercises, current events, and news coverage of these events as we prepare our students to return home as more effective leaders in their organizations, or in some cases, help them launch their own businesses. And remember, for them, for many of them, English is their second or third or fourth language. Also, the Humphrey program is not just about the classroom. In 2 weeks, for example, we head to Northern Arizona to adult summer camp, where we'll have some fun and deal with a variety of outdoor challenges as a team, and hopefully we all survive that. And later this month, we head to Washington, D.C. and New York City to give them experiences at our nation's capital and in the city that never sleeps. And now it's time for the video, again, produced by the Humphrey Fellows. And then you'll hear from them individually. And again, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome. I am Katarina Barushka.
And I am Jakub Karapetyan. Thank you for joining us.
We're coming to you from the Cronkite News set to talk about the arrival of the new Humphrey Fellows at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication.
The Humphrey Fellowship is a one-year exchange program that brings mid-level professionals from across the globe to the US so that they can own their leadership skills. ASU is one of the 13 chosen universities across the United States to welcome specialists in journalism and mass communication.
This year, Cronkite has received interesting characters. One of them is an ice swimmer, and there are also individuals who identify themselves with animals such as lions, pandas, and cat dogs, just to mention a few.
What's even more interesting about this year's cohort is the presence of Frankie the dinosaur amongst them. He is a columnist and a climate change communicator from Bangladesh. He is what Mayor Ahsan Habib has planned for the year.
I want to learn how to best communicate climate change and its likely effect. If I were an animal, I would choose to be Frankie the dinosaur, to advocate the humans, to stop from self-destructing activities and protect this one and only planet.
From a climate change advocacy dinosaur, we move on to the rainforests of the Ivory Coast and Emanuela Dago Akribi, our next fellow. She wants to travel the world and see all its natural sights.
Then she is in the right spot here in Arizona, where nature works wonders.
Let's see what Manu has to say about her plans.
During this fellowship, I aim to sharpen my skills in communication for development strategies so that I can help people in my country to improve their health and education. I also want to be more fluent in English and visit cities and places in the US that I've never been to before.
And we intend to showcase more girl power by introducing Doreen Ampofo, a broadcaster and assistant manager at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Doreen is a journalist who's interested in ensuring the rights of girls, women, and children. During her spare time, he enjoys watching soccer. Let's hear what Doreen has planned for her year at Cronkite.
Within the next 10 months, I'm aiming to enrich my knowledge and skills towards becoming a strategic crisis communicator. This is to help contribute to my country's fights and advocacy against ending witchcraft accusations in Ghana.
Can we even discuss any possible grounds for calling someone a witch?
You know, I heavily doubt it.
Well, you know, I know all about fleeing from a bloody dictator, but at least I have not been labeled a witch.
Yeah.
The next Humphrey Fellow, Makepeace Sitlow, is a freelance journalist from India. Makepeace feels that if she were an animal, she'd be a panda that doesn't care about anything, but everyone else being concerned about her survival. However, as a human, Makepeace cares about her Humphrey year a lot and has a solid agenda for it.
In my Humphrey year, I'll be working on an independent journalism model that looks at conducting cross-border investigative reporting from India's northeast. This model will also look at bringing in-depth stories from the ground in a region that is really considered the confluence of South and Southeast Asia.
From India to Latvia, we introduce Nelia Lochmele, the editor of IR magazine, whose hobby is ice swimming. The Ice Queen says her hobby has prepared her for the grand contrast between the hell-like heat and AC chills of Phoenix. Here's her take of the Humphrey Fellowship year.
During my Humphrey year, I'm looking for sparks of new ideas that I can blow into real fire back home and really figure out how we can reach those insanely fragmented digital audiences with amazing journalism that our team is creating.
Have you ever tried ice swimming, Katya?
No, not for me. The day I master ice swimming, I master flying.
Ah.
But there is another Humphrey Fellow who enjoys being in the water a lot. Zahidunisa from Pakistan even wishes she were a mermaid. Well, let's hear how the mermaid intends to swim through the fellowship.
During my Humphrey year, I'm taking time to revive and rebuild myself personally and professionally so that when I go back home, I have a diversified portfolio and development communications is added to my skill set.
Crossing over from Pakistan to Russia, here is Anastasia Zhukova, editor-in-chief of News Team in Russia. She says her spirit animal is cat dog because as a cat she feels great being alone. But as a dog, she likes communicating with people. Well, what does she have planned for the year?
During the Humphrey year, I intend to learn digital marketing and how to support journalists' mental health. These knowledges I really need in my country right now.
Anastasia comes from Sakhalin, an island on the far east of Russia. In terms of cuisine, they are actually quite different from the stereotypical vodka and pickles, but are much closer to South Korea, the country where two fellows come from.
Yes, the first of the two South Korean fellows is Ji-hye Yang. Don't be misled by her looks. She identifies with a killer whale because of her unbreakable personality. Ji-hye is a staff and editorial writer at Joseon Ilbo, one of the largest and oldest media companies, which is known for its tough corporate culture. This is what Ji-hye wants to accomplish during the fellowship.
In my Humphrey year, I want to find out how journalism helps to enhance female leadership in various sectors. I hope all women in the world will live a forward-looking life beyond the gender barrier.
The other Humphrey Fellow from South Korea is Jong-gun Lee. He is currently a news reporter at Korea Broadcasting Services. Jong-gun says that if he were an animal, he'd be a capybara, which loves everyone and is loved by everyone. And this is what he plans for the fellowship.
Well, my goal is to contribute toward improving diversity in my country. So, during my Humphrey year, I'll research on how journalism helps to improve diversity and inclusion.
And now we will introduce you to a fellow who has traveled the longest distance in order for him to be a Cronkite this year. It's none other than Teddy Kafo from the Solomon Islands in the Pacific region. Teddy says if he was an animal, he'd be a leatherback turtle and travel long distance in the ocean to reach nesting grounds. Here is what the Solomon Islands government communication officer has to say.
For my Humphrey Fellowship year, I want to develop my leadership skills and to boost my profile as a government communication officer so that upon return to the Solomon Islands, I will prove to be a good communication specialist and serve the government faithfully.
Before the arrival of these fellows, did you know, Jakob, where Solomon Islands are on the map?
Never tried it.
Well, that's the plus of being part of Cronkite Global. They bring the world to us.
Yes. Last, we present to you Blessing Jonah, a Zimbabwean journalism and media studies lecturer who teaches film production classes at the National University of Science and Technology. In 2017, Blessing and his students wrote a screenplay and produced a feature film titled Intentions with One Camera and One Microphone to prove their filmmaking passion at an under-resourced university. The film was not screened after authorities and social commentators said it was too explicit. Here's what he has to say about his Humphrey year.
I intend to learn as much as I can from US filmmakers and scholars so that I can play a key role in the revival of the Zimbabwean film industry. Once revived, this industry can employ many jobless and talented Zimbabweans.
All in all, this year's Humphrey Fellows are a cocktail of leaders in diverse fields, and they have noble aims to fulfill. We wish them nothing but the best.
Well, but we also have to admit that we're not really news anchors. We're fellows ourselves. Jakob here is from Armenia, and he's an editor-in-chief of the main fact-checking platform, FIP.
Yeah.
Jakob, tell us about yourself.
Well, this year I hope to improve my investigative skills and learn to use different new digital tools. But the main motivation is for me communicate with colleagues from different countries and getting to know America better. Last but not least about myself, I love my family, my children, my friends, and fish with potato. Turning to you, Katya, I know you are a freelance journalist from Belarus. Please tell our viewers more about yourself and your goal for this Humphrey year.
I've done a year of Taekwondo. I also love pizza, so I believe I qualify to come back as first female Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle in my next life. I'd call myself Frida to honor Frida Kahlo. And for my Humphrey year, I hope to learn how I can fit in the society and help it fight propaganda and fake news that are sweeping over the planet.
Hurricane Katya, as we have come to call her, was too modest to tell you that she escaped from Belarus to Poland with her husband and kids after protesting against the government. She's a wanted person in Belarus. She's a runaway hurricane.
That will wrap up our welcome video.
Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Doreen Ampofo. I'm from the beautiful West African country, Ghana. I am a journalist with the state broadcaster GBC and an assistant manager. In 2020, a 90-year-old woman was killed. She was beaten in the full glare of a community just because she was accused of being a witch. And the sad part of this was that this 90-year-old woman was crying for people to save her life, but they didn't. The reason she was accused of being a witch. And that really had an impact on me. So I decided to come to Arizona to study and take part in the Humphrey Fellowship Program. I am here to enrich my knowledge and skills, to help my country's education against witchcraft accusations, and to help children who are taken to these witches' camps to help their parents or their grandparents because they are too frail to take care of themselves. Already, Arizona has been an interesting place for me, except for the temperature, which is quite high. Fortunately, it is cooling off, and so we are getting to enjoy the cool weather. I intend to visit the Grand Canyon, which is very famous here. I also intend to network and meet as many people as I can who can impact my life so that when I go back to my country, I can also impact the lives of others. Now, please allow me to introduce our next fellow, Katerina Barushka. She's from Belarus. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Katya, and I'm from Belarus. 2 years ago, we were all over the news as the nation that stood up against a dictator who ruled our country for almost 30 years. Hundreds of thousands of protesters, led by women in white with nothing but flowers in their hands, have been confronting fully armed Belarusian militia for months. It was the most beautiful expression of the human spirit longing for freedom that I have ever witnessed. The fairy tale, however, turned into a horror story quite quickly. Almost 40,000 citizens have gone through Belarusian jails since then. That's more people than the Nazis imprisoned in 1933 Germany. And just like in the Nazi Germany, that unstopped violence against your own people grew into the violence against other nations. Belarus is an ally of Russia in their cruel and unforgivable war on Ukraine. I know what it feels like when your life is destroyed by the politicians unaccountable for their deeds or the fake information they're spreading. I've come here hoping to dive into good governance, respect for all, and free speech paradise. Boy, I was surprised. Every day, each one of us needs to fight ignorance, self-indulgence, greed, and craving for domination. Sometimes it's a battle in the newsroom, sometimes in the Senate, and sometimes in the privacy of your own soul. Do not let the demons ingrained in our human nature take over. May the example of my country serve as a horrible warning. Thank you very much. And it's my honor to introduce my colleague, Emanuela Dago-Akribi from Cote d'Ivoire.
Hi, everybody. My name is Emanuela Dago-Akribi, and I come from Cote d'Ivoire in West Africa. My family is very big, much bigger than what you are used to seeing in this country. I have 7 brothers and sisters, about 20 nephews, 3 grandnephews, and I've always seen my parents. We were both in the medical profession, my father being a doctor and my mother a midwife, taking care of people, both at work and at home. They not only provided them with healthcare to many people, distant relatives, simple acquaintances, but they also provide them with education. After working for several years in the field of marketing research, I wanted to do something more impactful that will allow me to serve my country and that would directly affect the lives and well-being of people. Then I took the opportunity to work in the public administration where I focused on development issues. From my family and professional experience, I'm convinced that education and health are the 2 pillars of the development of a nation. How many people still die from malaria? How many women die giving birth? That's why during this fellowship, I want to improve my skill in designing strategies and projects that enhance the effectiveness of product development in my country. Thank you very much. And now allow me to introduce my fellow Mir Hassan Habib from Bangladesh.
Thank you, Manu. So I am actually the Frankie, the wannabe dinosaur. So you have my name already. I come from Bangladesh, a country in South Asia. Bangladesh is one of the fastest growing economies in the current world. So we have our robust ready-made garments. Probably many of you are wearing dress made in Bangladesh. And we have our robust remittance inflow. And thanks to our stable macroeconomic growth that has made my country as the fastest growing economy. So I, as a Humphrey Fellow, want to master the latest communication technique and apply them in climate change communication. I come from Bangladesh. As you know, that Bangladesh is one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change. But when I come to the US, I find that US is no different. Being the most developed nation in the world, I find so much similarities between Bangladesh and the US in terms of when it comes to climate change. I see minority communities here who are affected by the climate change. I see we have a similar consumption behavior that is contributing to climate change. We live in the AC atmosphere that is contributing to heat. We are driving cars in Dhaka, in the Phoenix, that is contributing to climate change. So it is time to act now. It is time to change our behavior. It is time to reduce our consumption. And I want to learn in my Humphrey year, the latest communication technique and the climate change trend. And I want to develop a knowledge management hub in my country that will promote solution journalism on climate change. Thank you very much. It is my pleasure to introduce Blessing Jonah, my good friend and my Humphrey Fellow from Zimbabwe.
Okay, thank you, Frankie the dinosaur. Right. Salutations and all protocols observed. My name is Blessing Jonah, and I'm a film production lecturer at the National University of Science and Technology in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. I have a vision, and my vision is to contribute towards the improvement and the revival of the Zimbabwean film industry through film production, curriculum development, and content creation. I have this passion, and I conceived it in 2017 through a painful experience. My crime was that I had produced a 120-minute melodrama, Intentions, which contained just a few kissing scenes, and sex scenes. And this film contained no nudity at all, but I invited a lot of trouble to myself. I was actually summoned before disciplinary committee hearings, and authorities said that the film was supposed to be re-edited, and it was eventually not screened. The other terrible thing about it was that it brought about contentious issues to do with sexual harassment in tertiary institutions, and my colleagues were not happy with that. And that's the reason why eventually the film was shelved and it was kept off the books. So in life, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. This experience, it actually led me to have this deep desire to learn more about film production and learn from filmmakers and actually film content producers here in the US. And this is why I'm happy to be learning through the Humphrey Fellowship and to be networking with film producers in the States. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak. I want to introduce to you the next speaker, the leatherback turtle from Solomon Islands, Teddy Kafo.
Hello, everyone. So from previous presentation in the video, I can pick out that I'm the only fellow from the Southern Hemisphere, and I'm the fellow that traveled the furthest to reach Arizona. But the good thing is, I stand here as proud because I'm the first Solomon to be awarded this prestigious training program. So anyway, I work as a government communication officer. We are a unit inside of Prime Minister's office and taking care of public relations and information dissemination. And our basic duty is to disseminate and communicate all government policies, progresses, and actions to the public and beyond. My role is crucial in representing the conscience of our island communities because of its multi-ethnicity and its strategic importance in light of the recent geopolitical tussle that has been going on. So, as a developing island state, the challenges of disseminating information to the community is constantly hampered by remoteness and lack of key means like technology to deliver information directly to the people, which 80% live in the rural communities. So with the continuous improvement of information infrastructure technology, added with skills I'll acquire during my Humphrey year, I'm optimistic to make a great contribution to development of effective communication strategies to build a better informed population, which will reflect the importance of good governance in principle. Thank you, and you all have a pleasant evening. So I'll introduce to next fellow from Armenia, Jacob.
Thank you, Teddy. As you certainly know, this is Beethoven's Ode to Joy,
one of the greatest works of human genius and a hymn to European unity and peaceful prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Hakop Karapetyan, journalist and head of a fact-checkers organization. I come from Armenia, from the very edge of Eastern Europe, country that has chosen the path of European democracy, but is still in tight contact with its former ally, Russia. I'm sorry to share negative information tonight, but yesterday my country was heavily attacked by the authoritarian regime of neighboring Azerbaijan. Peaceful settlements are under fire. Hundreds were killed from both sides. Literally at this very hour, my team in my capital city, Yerevan, is fighting against aggressive disinformation and fake news. Hope that democracy and truth will win. I not only use all the brains that I have, but all that I can borrow, said the 28th President of the United States, Woodrow Wilson, a good friend of my nation. So I'm here to borrow the brains of the American education system, and I'm thankful for this great opportunity. Thank you. Welcome, my good friend, Jong-un from South Korea.
Thank you. Good evening. Nice to meet you. I'm Jung-gun Lee. I'm from Korea, and I work as a TV reporter for KBS. As a TV reporter, I built my career covering international relations. So I'm very interested in international affairs and what happens in many other countries. So please tell me a lot about America and American culture. Especially, I'd like to learn about diversity and inclusion in the United States. You know, I heard Arizona is the perfect place to learn about them. Are you agree? Yeah. During my Humphrey year, I researched on the DEI in the United States. So after returning my country, I will contribute to improving diversity and inclusion in Korea as a journalist. Thank you. And next, I'm very pleased to introduce my friend and Humphrey Fellow, Nelia.
Thank you, and good evening to everyone. Let me share a funny story. A couple of weeks ago, in this big conference, I met a guy from Gannett company, and I pitched him my elevator pitch. You know it already. I'm a journalist from Latvia, and here in the United States, I am to find out, write new ideas about digital media. And he was very surprised. He asked me, so why are you here? You should be going to your neighbor Estonia, because I'm top class in all digital. So I had a little laugh, and then I thought, well, actually, that's true. I have a lot of plans for this year, but maybe, just maybe, I don't know a real reason why I am here yet. And it feels great. It feels great because I'm so curious to find it out. And I'm already having really wonderful insights. Like, I am so grateful to be in such a modern university for the first time in my life. And being so far from my home, right now, I feel like I'm starting to be very proud of Latvia. We are a tiny nation, just 2 million, but we have achieved a lot. And I feel humbled to be able to share this experience with other fellows. So I'm here to be surprised, to grow, and also to give. So let's see how it moves. I'm very honored to count on your help, and I wish us all fun and meaningful journey. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my friend Zahudinisa from Pakistan.
Good evening, everybody. As I'm here to represent my country, Pakistan, I'd like to tell you that there's a lot that I could share, but I'll share something that is very much relevant to what's happening right now. And that are the floods back home. The country is battered by torrential rains and flash floods, and because of which there are many who are rendered shelterless, and there is an increase in poverty and crime rates in the country. But there's something that you might not be and that's not very much common on social media, that many of you might not be knowing, that it's also a nation of people who cannot sit back at home when it comes to relief activities. And right now there are many from among the common people who are working day and night to help the people who are left without, whose houses are destroyed and who don't have food to eat or who don't have access to medical care right now. I'd like to use this opportunity of this Humphrey Fellowship to grow into an individual who can help those who are left behind because of lack of opportunities. And I'm also very grateful to be back in a classroom and to learn as a student. And I'm also I cannot express my delight enough to find a family away from family in the name of Anastasia Zhukova, my flatmate. And now I'd like to introduce my neighbor in Phoenix and my neighbor on the globe, Makepeace Sitlo.
Good evening, everyone. 12 years ago, a bright, young tribal woman dreamt of becoming a writer. She applied for a job in a magazine, but unfortunately, she was rejected, allegedly because her English was not good enough. She nevertheless persisted. She continued writing. She wrote for any place that would take her writing. She wrote for anyone who would take a chance on her. But before you know it, she was not only writing articles and blogs, but was also working on complex mega pieces of narrative nonfiction and investigations. Her work soon took her back to her home region in India's Northeast, a very neglected part of India. Here she's worked on investigations looking at the kind of human rights abuses that the military has conducted, the kind of environmental violations that has been done on an international railway line, stories of where people have been, their citizenship has been put on the trial, as well as stories where LGBTQI youth have been excommunicated by the Presbyterian Church. And she did this all by herself as an independent journalist. My name is Makepeace Sitlo. I'm still that same young woman, still very bright-eyed and still daring to dream. I'd like to call upon my colleague and my fellow from South Korea, Jae Yang.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ji-hye Yang from South Korea, not North Korea, and I'm female sports journalist of the Sunilbo, which is the largest newspaper company in South Korea. And my bit is especially baseball and tennis. As you all know, Phoenix is a global hub city for sports, where major professional sports teams such as for baseball, basketball, ice hockey, and football are all gathered, and important events such as next year's Super Bowl or Phoenix Open are held. Moreover, and the most important thing, Walter Cronkite High School is particularly internationally known for sports journalism. So being able to study at ASU in Phoenix as a Humphrey Fellow feels like a dramatic destiny for me. Even in September, the weather is still very hot. I love a lot of things in Phoenix, but this heat is the only one thing that I haven't gotten used yet. Though my global friends, Kim, Katie, and Sarah over there helped me a lot to fall in love with the city. Thank you so much. And of course, thank you to everyone at ASU. And next, I will introduce my precious fellow, Miss Anastasia Zhukova from Russia.
Thank you, G. Good evening, everyone.
As you know, I'm Anastasia Zhukova. I'm from Russia, and I'm so proud to be here despite all the difficult things related to my country right now. And during the Humphrey year, I would like to learn not only new things about media industry for myself, but also to support colleagues who work in crisis situation. And I mean not only global crises, but also personal emotional crisis, personal emotions of media workers. And because our industry changed so fast and many people working non-stop and they burn out so quickly. That's why mental health support is really important for each of us. And the Humphrey program was my support when I was lost in February 2022. And right now, I want to learn more about mental health support, and I would like to find the way how I can help for another people. Thank you. And all our cohort really appreciated for all of you who has come here today, especially to our global friends, their families, and all ASU team. And Elsa, I'm really happy to introduce you, Director of Global Initiatives, Dr. Juan Mendel.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here today. As we approach the end of today's welcome ceremony, I just wanted to take some time to say thank you to all of you who are here, but also to all of the people who are behind the scenes making this fellowship happen. So first of all, I want to extend my sincere gratitude to the Cronkite Global Initiatives team who works nonstop to ensure that the fellows are well taken care of throughout their 10 months here at the ASU. From helping them book flights to planning airport pickups, helping them secure housing, putting them through unforgettable trips experiences. There's so much that goes behind these 10 months that we could not do this without the help of this amazing team. So many thanks to Adrian, Jen, John, Nicole, and Sonal for everything you guys do. We really are so happy to have you guys as part of a team. I also want to thank our returning and new global friends who helped the fellows adjust to life in the US and help them experience the best that this country has to offer. If this is your first time at the Humphrey ceremony, please know that we welcome the involvement of entire Phoenix community that want to spend time with the fellows and become global friends for the future. So if you need more information, please email us at cronkiteglobal@asu.edu. But in addition to that, it's essential to recognize Cronkite's faculty and leadership who have long advocated for the Humphrey Fellows and lend their expertise to help them accomplish their professional development goals. And our amazing supporters, such as the Severson's family, who are always here with us to support the Humphrey Fellows. We had a terrific run this past year at Cronkite Global. In addition to managing our international visitors, we had also launched new internships in Argentina for Cronkite students. We have created new study abroad programs for both online and immersion students. And we have established and funded research and teaching grants that allow faculty and doctoral students to pursue their agendas on a global level. And this is just the beginning. So we're extremely excited to continue working with you as the year unfolds. So lastly, I just want to invite the entire Cronkite community to join us at Cronkite Global to work together on delivering more of Cronkite to the world. Please have a great night. Thank you for being here and thank you for your support.